Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I guess that if you are here, you want to make your own game, but people told you that you need to learn how to code. And I agree 100% with that. You can actually make games without learning how to code, but the experience will end up being very frustrating. And the reason is that you're not gonna able to do what you want for your game. You're gonna be limited by the software you use. But learning coding is not that much of a big deal, and that's why I decided to create this series of short videos that will teach you one basic that is generic to every languages. Coding languages are not that different from each other. That's why my series on generic coding is gonna help you, I think. For example, the theme of today is variables. In any languages, you have variables. So what is a variable, you may ask? It's an information that you store somewhere in your computer. You're not the one who decide where. All you have to know is what type of information you store and the name you give it, because you're gonna be able to retrieve it by the name. So for example, I don't know if you remember, I'm gonna fill you up with, I think, a lot of nostalgia, but do you remember when you used to name your character in Pokemon as a kid? That very moment where you know which one of your friends were the lazy one. Because when you were exchanging your freaking Pikachu you spent hours in damn forest to find, sometimes you would made an exchange with Well, that was basically me though. I've never been good at naming things. This information in the game was actually stored somewhere. That doesn't come as a surprise, I think. So in the code, they could write something like this. This is a type of the variable. String. A string is a text. So every text you create is a string. So string, you name your character in Pokemon. You could write string name, and then I would write myself as a user, and it's gonna store in the variable that is called name. So here, this is the variable. It's called name. So later on, if I want to display the name on screen, this is just an example. You do not actually write display. It's different for every languages. But I want to understand the generic logic behind it. So when you learn a new language, there is no surprise for you. So you could go display name, and on screen you would have, for example, the name of your character. So that's how it works. And you have so many types of variables. Like you have string, which are text. You have integer. So integers are full number, like 2, 5, 1 million, or whatever. Then you have double and float. They were designed so the memory in your computer was well handled. But nowadays, we all have crazy computers, even like the shittiest computer. I mean, shout out to every one of you that is playing on the laptop. Compared to when the languages were created, you got a crazy PC, you know? Your toaster, because I'm calling this a toaster, your toaster is very powerful in comparison to the computer we used to have. So now this doesn't matter, but just know that in double and float, you can store things as this kind of number. So you have your numbers, your text, and you have ball. And I'm gonna take my cat as an example. My cat is dumb is a statement. Today I'm not sure. I'm talking about the cat we had when I was a kid. He would basically, when enter a room, open the door and turn on the light, and I'm not even joking, he would jump on the light to turn them on in the middle of the night. Thank you, cat. It's not like I had a test tomorrow. It seemed like it was a very smart cat, but he can only eat stolen food. Yeah, if you would give him the food, he would refuse. Like, he would refuse to eat it. He would ignore you, being like, he will wait to leave the room and then eat the food. So let's say my cat is dumb. This is a statement that is true, and this is what a ball does. a boolean shortened as bool. So you will create a bool and we'll call it like cat smartness. I've never been good at naming things. You know, a good way to name variables is to know what it's inside. If you can't tell what it's inside your variable, that's a bad name. But anyway, so you have your cat smartness and it's true. And then later on the code, so this is my variable, cat smartness. This is the type of the variable. I'm telling the program, okay, this is a statement. And it's true. So later on the code, I want to know if my cat is smart or not. And if it's smart, I will do something. If it's not, I would do something else. And that is, my friend, another statement. It's a condition. But that's for another day. I'm gonna go more in depth in the next video, but as a bonus, I'm gonna show you how it works. So if cat smartness is true, then, and I don't know, I give a reward. I give a reward to my cat. So this is what I do. I give a reward. And if he's not, so else, then I yell at him. Oh, I don't yell at my cat. Basically, they own me. So a variable is useful because you will use this information to do things in your program. And without variables, you cannot do anything. And that's it for today. This is a lot of information to take in when you first start. But as long as you code, you will get better at it. The hardest part in coding is to start. What makes coding really enjoyable when you know how to code is the result. When you press enter and you see your character moving, or you see your character like digging a hole in your map, or your first combat with enemies that you created, the dungeon that you made, that's very rewarding. But the process of coding in itself can be very dull sometimes because it's not that complicated and it's basically the same thing over and over. You have a problem to solve, and the coding language gives you tools to solve that problem. That's why people do not make that much game from scratch, like entirely coding everything. And that's why you have things like Unity and Godot. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you want to support me, you can follow me on Twitch, subscribe to this channel, let a like, and I hope I can see you soon for the next video. See ya!